Hi, and thanks so much for joining me for another day of Vlogmas. Today we're talking about my favorite foundations, concealers, and one and done eyeshadows of the year. This was supposed to be five foundations, 5 concealers, and 5 one and dones, but I have so many foundations that I think I've got like 9, and then I've got 5 concealers, and then I think I have like maybe 4 or 5 one and done eyeshadows. So the reason why I wanted to include so many foundations is because I love having a foundation wardrobe of sorts. So depending on the look I want to go for, sometimes I want really sheer, sometimes I want medium coverage, and sometimes I want full coverage. So that's why there are so many foundation products here today. Some of them are makeup skincare hybrid products. So starting with those, I think these I've talked about many times. We have here, these are by Chantecaille. These are the Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint and also the Sheer Glow Bronze Face Tint. So many of you have picked these up. I have worn them, gosh, recently. I showed you the Rose Glow by itself on my face. It actually works really nicely. I've shown the bronze on my face. So when I have a tan, this is a great foundation. It has a lovely filtered effect on it. And then also mixing them together is really beautiful. So this is one of the most sheer coverage products that I have that I will use as foundation. They do have a pudding-like texture to them, really hydrating, flattering on the skin, really easy to wear, very effortless. So I love that about these. I'm gonna count along the way to see how many I have. Oh, by the way, because I know I will forget by the time I edit this, the lip that I have on is this YSL Rouge Volupte Candy Glaze in 05. This has been a really lovely lip this whole year. I have to remember to keep that out to include in my favorite lips video. Then we also have this. These are the Skin Enhancers by Chanel. Very similar to the Chantecaille products, but this one is in soft pink, and then we also have one in medium coral. These do a similar thing. They have a nice filtering effect on the skin, really pretty. So I think I've done a side by side of these. Let me know which one you like better, but they do very similar thing. Their textures are slightly different though, and this may depend on ingredients as well, what you prefer, but let me know if you have them. But this is amongst my most sheer coverage. I really like them, especially in the summer. These are ones I'll really gravitate towards. I think I wasn't wearing foundation in summer. It was very interesting. I was wearing as little makeup as I possibly could. Then from there, a step up, we have the Water Fresh Tint by Chanel. This is not a new product. It's very well loved. This is empty, almost. I actually do have this on now because I did a look with this, and it is a really skin flattering kind of product. It's very sheer though. So if you're looking for coverage, you might not like this, but it has a very second skin-like finish. One of the most second skin-like finishes I've seen, where it is virtually undetectable on the skin. It has that, not the shininess, but it's a very glowy finish without feeling sticky or feeling like it hasn't set. It definitely feels like it has set. It does feel like skincare, like a really nice hydrated, like a serum almost, that kind of a texture. Really lovely feeling on the face. And again, a filtered effect, nothing to really cover up imperfections, but it enhances the skin. Then moving on to a little bit more coverage, I've got like a realm where we're getting into just a little bit more coverage. We've got here the Hermes Plein Air, and this one is in 50 Palomino. This one is really beautiful on the skin. It does have a slightly olive tone to it, so if you are close to my tone, BD41 in Chanel. This one is a little bit more olive, so if that is a little bit too warm for you, then this might be really great if you have an olive tone skin. This has, I've said it before, it has the finish as if it was a waxed apple, in that it has a bit of a glow to it, but it's not shiny at the same time. It's just a really pretty, very lovely skin enhancing finish, but a little bit more coverage. This product, which also is not new, but it's got a satin type finish to it. So this is the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel. This is the one they will use for television and film because it is, again, barely perceptible, if not imperceptible on the skin. I cannot see individual particles here or streaks in my foundation when I apply it. It just goes on like skincare. It has that really lovely texture to it as well. Kind of like a pudding, again, texture. A lot of pudding textures with Chantecaille. Feels like skincare, goes on like skincare. This shade Cream has a wide range. So I know people who are like 2 shades lighter than me, and this works for them and also works for me. So I like that about it. It adapts really nicely to the skin, has a lovely, again, satin finish. It is one of the most skin-like finishes of any of these products. So if you really don't want to see foundation on your face, you just want to see the results of it, it is buildable, but I would not count on this for full coverage. But if you want just a really natural, very comfortable feeling on the skin, in fact, all of the products I've talked about so far are really comfortable on the skin, which is key. If I'm going to wear foundation, it has to be comfortable. So I love this one in cream. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, moving along, new to the scene, but very quickly rose up, and I think one of you said it jumped all your other foundations. These are the Dior foundations. I have 3 because I was trying to shade match here. So I have, I'll swatch them for you, but I have 3.5N, I have 3N, and I have 2CR, which 2CR seems like it's totally off. But when I mix that with 3.5, it's like the perfect shade, because I need to bring back a little bit of a neutral tone, because I am, even though warm, have some neutral tones to my skin. And even though this is neutral, it still pulls warm. So that's a really lovely balance. This is very impressive. It really takes just a little bit of foundation to have a lovely, almost perfected look to the skin, including the surface of the skin, which is what I noticed, and it goes on really easily. So very little is necessary. I'll take a brush with this because I don't want this to be too heavy. In fact, I think it looks really beautiful with less, and so I just build it where needed. So I'll add maybe a little bit more in the front, but I really have been very, very impressed with this foundation. I don't love stick foundations in general, so I'm a little surprised. I love the convenience of a stick. Now, some of you let me know there is a fragrance that is a little bit too strong for you or reacts with your skin, so just know that some people who have sensitivity to fragrance were not getting along as well, but I have not had any issues with it. So always thank you for leaving the comments about how things worked for you, because I know it helps other people make decisions about what they want to buy, because maybe my skin concerns are different than yours. So if someone can read comments about someone whose skin is similar to theirs, it's really helpful. So thank you so much for leaving those comments. Okay, moving along to more coverage. We have here the Chanel Sublimage Le Teint. This is really a luxurious foundation. It has a little bit more coverage than anything else I've talked about so far, and it's really beautiful on the skin. It has longevity to it. It lasts a long time and looks beautiful from beginning to end of day, and that's what I start to look for when I look for more high coverage. Usually it's because I am going somewhere, it needs to stay in place. I need it to be reliable. I cannot be reapplying it. It just needs to last and look beautiful, and maybe even better than when I applied it first. This is one of those products. I have mine in the shade BD41. I was surprised because sometimes Chanel does not have BD41 and I'm going to B40, or B50 is too deep for me. So BD41 really is a really lovely shade match for me. It's definitely one of the more luxurious foundations that I have. So going more to a higher coverage, more perfected, this is one of the most beautiful foundations that I have, and it has appeared in favorites ever since I tried it. So this is the Future Skin Cushion by Chantecaille, and I have 2 here because wheat, moving from summer, like this is a great summer tone for me, wheat, and it's a little bit warmer, but I also have the shade Nude, which is more neutral. It's a really great winter shade for me. Also, these have this similar kind of stretch in each of the colors in terms of range as the Future Skin Gel does. So this adapts really nicely to your skin tone. I don't know really how that works, but sometimes this shade seems like it will be too light on initial application, but I just wait a few minutes and it somehow meshes really beautifully with my skin. This shade I can use as a concealer as well, the Nude. I can use wheat and then Nude as a concealer and just spot conceal. So that way it's consistent in terms of the surface of the skin. There's nothing that stands out as a different kind of product. It looks very seamless. One of my very favorite foundation products ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we have 9. So this is Ultra Le Teint. This is probably my most perfecting foundation, but also it's a little bit more evident than the Future Skin Cushion. That's what I'm going to say is the difference between this and the Future Skin Cushion, but they do remind me a lot of each other. And this one especially looks really beautiful on camera. So anytime I've worn this, I've gotten questions about what foundation I'm wearing. And it's usually this one. It's the Chanel Ultra Le Teint. It's an all-day comfort, flawless finish foundation. I think that describes it perfectly. And I have mine in BD41. Do know though that BD41 in Chanel foundations is not always going to look the same depending on the formulation. So It will be very close, but it's not exactly the same. But those do work for me. Let's move on to concealer. In fact, now that we're moving on to concealer, I'm just gonna take one of these right now. This is the West Atelier. I went in really lightly with a different concealer that I was doing a different look with. So I wanna use this and just brighten the under eye area. This is an M2. So I did not necessarily do a look with all these. There's too many products to feature here. I have featured these many, many times, and then you'll have swatches as well. So I'm just gonna brighten here with this West Atelier in M2. I've got this under eye concealer brush by Sephora, 71. Yeah, this has been kind of like a surprise hit this year. I didn't really expect much from this, but I pull for it a lot. It's gonna be a little bit bright on the onset. It just always looks like bright, but then it settles in. So let's get that in there. I just wanted to brighten that. This is one of my top 5 concealers of the year. This is West Atelier. It has a lovely finish to it, really easy to use because it has this doe foot applicator, and it just has worked out really nicely. It works well under the eye, it works well in my dark spots, and I've really enjoyed that one. It's got a lot of flexibility to it, so in this eye area I don't get creasing or anything like that, and that's what I look for in an under eye concealer, is that it doesn't look like makeup. I don't set my under eye concealer as well, so it has to be able to set by itself, because when I add powder I can really see that it's makeup, so I definitely avoid adding powder there. Speaking of under eye concealer, this was a favorite for, gosh, a long time, and then we didn't see it for a while. So this is Chanel Sublimage Eye Corrector in 40. And some of you let me know this is a little bit drying for you. And until recently, I had not noticed it. But then I tried it, gosh, the other day, and I noticed that it had a dryness to it. So I don't know. I mean, this is a newer one, so I don't think it's because it's old. I think I waited too long after I applied my under eye moisturizer. So that is one thing that I think is tricky with this, is that it has to be the right balance of moisture under the eye, but not too moisturized, so that this goes on nicely. And then just using a little teeny tiny bit, that is one thing I learned. If I add too much, it looks makeup-y. If it's not hydrated enough, it looks makeup-y. So this is a little bit finicky, I'm gonna say, in terms of prepping the eye area, the way that it works well on me. So it's a little bit more high maintenance, but the finish is really beautiful. So let me know what your thoughts are on this, because some of you let me know that it's a little bit dry for you, but still really beautiful. And it's one of the more perfecting under eye concealers that I have. So if I want a really perfected look, I'm going to pull for this one. And this again is in the shade 40. Another concealer, I have to shout this one out because I use this daily. This is Ciele Concealer SPF 50. It's Conceal and Protect. It's got SPF, which I love. So I use this on my dark spots, and I have swept it under here. It's not the most natural, but it's also not super obvious, which is kind of interesting since this is an SPF concealer. I just dot it on here in the morning, just put it under my eyes, and I swipe, and it's really nice. It's in 08P, and so it's really hard for me to find concealers with SPF that I like. Actually, it's kind of hard to find concealers with SPF in general. I don't know why it's not done more often, because we're usually concealing spots that are darker or need more protection, like this very delicate eye area. I do think about that with the sun, so I want to protect it. I wear sunglasses, of course, but also right here, I use it for my dark spots, and it works really well. So Ciele in 08P. If you were wondering, yes, still Clé de Peau is the best for dark spots here. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to choose one concealer for the year, because I use 2 different concealers. I don't ever use this. Well, is that true? I do, but I feel like this really specializes in dark spots in areas with texture. It just does the best job. I have mine in Honey. I wish they would make a color corrector in this formulation. It'd be really great if they did. It sure would help, especially if there was redness, and you could have a green one for dark spots. A peach one would be great. So I really wish they would do that. But this is still, year after year, one of my very favorite and most used products, Clé de Peau. And then my favorite lightweight concealer, and this is for that barely there makeup, when I want it really natural, like a weekend look or like a really effortless look, I will pull for this. This is Chantecaille's Le Camoflauge Stylo. This is in 4C, and I use it right here in the under eye area. Actually, is that what I had? No, it's not. I use it in the under eye area, and I will also use it on my spots, but that's when I don't powder. That's when I just want to look really natural, Again, really effortless. This is the one I will pull for when I don't want to look like I'm wearing makeup, because this is along the lines of the other Chantecaille products, very imperceptible, very natural looking. This has a peachy tone to it in 4C. So if you're wanting to try this, it's more fluid. It's the most fluid of any of the concealers I have there. And it's a bit translucent too. So it's not going to be perfected at all, but it's just going to brighten and blur a little bit. Moving on to one and dones. So I have a few here. I'm going to pull for the most obvious one because this is one I always talk about and really is my go-to one and done. This is the 236 Brun Talpa, and since I have it right here, I'm going to add it. I know I have, oh, if you want to know what I'm wearing, I have the Beige palette medium. This one right here is what I have on my eyes. It's still really lovely. I love the look, but let's do this one and done because I love how I can make this either really subtle, like a sheer wash of color, and it builds dimension really quickly because it has a glow to it. Yeah, you could even layer it on top like this and just transform an eye look really quickly if you're going from day to night. Or you can start out with something like this and then just build it up for the evening. So I'm just gonna add it on because I love it so much. And these Chanel singles were something I was not expecting to really enjoy as much as I have. So I've got this one again, 236 Brun Talpa. Another one is this one right here by Chanel, and this is the other one that I love. This is Quartz Fume. So this one has a bronzier tone to it. This one has like a grayish pewter tone to it. It's really lovely. But if you want something that has like an olivey tone, reminds me of Mediterranean a little bit. If you missed that palette, it's still one of my favorite Chanel palettes that's ever come around. This one reminds me a lot of it. It's really pretty. It has a lot of dimension to it as well. And then we've got eyeshadow sticks. So I love eyeshadow sticks. This one is by Victoria Beckham, and this one is in caramel. It's a lovely, like a bronzy tone to it actually. I mean, of course I will swatch it a little bit better for you, but I just wanted to show it to you here so you could see what it looks like. Very easy product to use. It glides on, doesn't crease on me. Of course I don't add too much either, but I love these kinds of eyeshadow sticks. The Victoria Beckham eyeshadow sticks are some of the nicest ones I've ever used, but this is the one that I love the most. I ordered another one that I haven't tried on camera yet in Shroom, and it's a cooler version of this. So I will be trying that in a video at some point if I have not already posted that yet, but Shroom is the other one that looks really interesting from Victoria Beckham. So that's 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can't forget to mention, you know how I love the Clé de Peau eyeshadows? They have some great one and dones in here. You could do a one and done with this one, with this one, with this one, with this one. Any of these would be a great one and done, which is why I think this is such a great palette to travel with, because you can build a lot of dimension. And in fact, I still haven't gotten to the comments. I'm so sorry. I'm very late on them because I'm trying to film these as well. But I will get back to them. Anytime you've asked of me about eye looks lately, it's been a Clé de Peau palette, either 03 or this one happens to be 01 Sand Dune. The other one is something Driftwood. They're both really pretty. The 03 that I just mentioned, it looks like a more refined version of Tissé Rivoli. I did a side-by-side actually between 03 and Tissé Rivoli, and they looked virtually the same, except if you go really close, you can see that the particles are a little bit more refined on the Clé de Peau. So lovely one and dones in the Clé de Peau palettes. And then for the fifth one, this is a fairly new one, but this one has really lovely shades that are great one and dones. So if you're looking for a variety of one and dones, so you have some neutrals, you've got some purpley shades, and then you have some, maybe this one would be the one I wouldn't be so sure about. These two might not be my best one and dones. They might be a little bit intense unless that's what you want. But the other ones are more my speed for one and dones, but it doesn't mean that you can't use those as one and dones. You definitely could. It just depends on your aesthetic. So that was like what, 9 foundations, 5 concealers, and 5 one and dones. So let me know what you love in terms of foundations, concealers, one and dones. I'd love to know. Please let us know in the comment section below. But that is it for today's video. So please take care of each other. Stay well if you enjoyed this video. If you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Some of them are also skincare hybrid. Candy, Volupte Candy Glaze, Rouge, nope, hold on. I actually have it on, almost hit my face. So I just wanted to brighten the, oh, something on my head. After I applied under eye,